Anyone who sets out on a 5-day, 1,000-mile high-speed journey over 54 special stages on April the 1st has to be an optimist. Things on April Fool's Day in Ireland are unlikely to go according to plan, and certainly they got off to rather a slow start. The pace to come is not reflected in the crowds in Belfast City Hall, as the large crowd awaits for the arrival of the first car. Europe's rally aces sit frustratedly in the Good Friday city centre traffic as the clock ticks past the 10 a.m. start time. At last, there are signs of activities as 001 battles through the impatient fans. Not much to photograph as yet, except the rare sight of a co-driver on foot. As the National Union of Navigators have an informal meeting, everybody is relieved to see the late arrival of Jimmy McRae's Opel Ascona 400 for the start of the 52nd Circuit of Ireland Rally.
Fabulous Opel Ascona 400, the Rothmans Opel Rally team. And obviously, a fairly apprehensive gentleman at this stage.
Most would give the likeable Scot a very good chance of putting himself into the history books as the first person ever to win this Easter event 4 times in a row. Jimmy, who has made Irish tarmac rallying and the British Championship his own in recent years, knows that only a fool would discount the opposition in the 1983 circuit. Among them, 7-time Swedish champion Stig Blomqvist, the fastest 4-wheel drive exponent in the world. The Audi Quattro, since it last unleashed its turbocharged 5 cylinders on Irish soil, has undergone considerable tarmac development. The star attraction is the Lancia Rally, similar to this year's Monty winner, and driven by Pentti Riikola. The other representative from Finland is Henri Toivonen in the second Rothmans Opel, and no one underestimates his ability.
Now that you're a family man, do you find your driving more cautious?
Well, no, not really. Of course, I must say that maybe the concentration is not the same level than it has been before, at least now, because I'm really looking forward to see my daughter again. But I haven't had a drive for 2 months, so I'm really looking forward to this rally now.
Do you think number 4 will be more lucky for you this Easter than it was last Easter?
Well, I hope to be more clever. I think it's not really a luck.
Would you be surprised if an Irishman won this circuit this year?
Well, there's always that possibility. They are very, very quick here on their own island, so there's few Irish who will be really danger for us.
Per Eklund is seated number 5 in the Group A Toyota Corolla due to his stature as an A-graded driver. In the Vauxhall Chevette, the man with one of the best circuit records of all, Russell Brooks, who already has 2 wins, 2 seconds and a Group A victory under his belt. Russell knows better than most how to pace himself for this marathon event. At the scrutiny, there has been a last-minute entry. Billy Coleman made a late phone call to the organisers, arrived late afternoon, and is scheduled to start late at number 70. His car, the RS 1800 Escort, was driven last year by the then world champion Ari Vatanen, and as the saying goes, better late than never. Other Irish hopefuls include Fisher's Opel and another Lancia Rally.
It's a very standard road-going version, engine-wise and gearbox. The suspension's absolutely off the shelf. The brakes, we've changed the pedal box on it, it's larger brakes in the front of it. And of course we've lightened the car a bit with fiberglass.
One new feature of the rally cannot go unnoticed, the start of a 3-year deal with Rothmans to sponsor the circuit. The evidence is everywhere and very welcome for the first Rothmans Circuit of Ireland. And so the beautiful Irish countryside is ready to host one of the spectacles of the European motorsport calendar. Today's route takes in 10 stages in County Antrim before returning to Belfast for an overnight halt. McCartney's exotic Lancia pilots us out the M1 for the first stage, 8 miles north of Belfast. Pace notes have been permitted for the Friday stages, a move welcomed by the visiting drivers as it reduces the advantage of local knowledge to the Irish competitors. Reggie McSpadden, in one of the official 00 cars, opens the action on 5 days and nights of one of motorsport's greatest shows. Indeed, pace notes are immediately significant. But Jimmy McRae is slightly off the pace at Nettlebush and is 10 seconds down on his young teammate Toivonen. And annihilated by 21 seconds by the Swede Stig Blomqvist in the Audi Quattro. Auricula is definitely rusty, and the powerful Lancia is not proving an easy car to tame. But despite this misadventure, he still sets 5th fastest time. The supercar pace note combination is staggeringly fast. Brooks isn't bothered by the supercars. He knows it's early days yet for the Rothmans circuit. The German champion Harald de Muth in the Mini Quattro, the Audi 80, is giving the car its World Rally debut on tarmac. At 8 and 9, 2 former British national champions, Vauxhall's Terry Cabey in the Blydenstein-prepared HSR Chevette, and Ford's Malcolm Wilson in the Group A Escort RS 1600i. Eklund is setting the target times in Group A, but one of his main rivals, Chris Lord, is having to cope with a misfire in the Mazda. Next up is the fastest local, Bertie Fisher. And Desi McCartney gives of his best in the unmodified and privately entered Lancia Rally, a beautiful Italian beast. Billy Coleman's late entry is showing early signs of retirement, and sadly, the Cork legend is destined to last only to the end of this, the very first stage, due to a loose oil union. But somebody who is above all this must have been giving Dubliner Austin McHale flying lessons. The rally now makes a brief sortie up the famous Glens of Antrim. The next major test is renowned as one of the fastest, most spectacular and damaging 12-mile strips of tarmac in this part of the country. First to run the gauntlet, McRae, who climbs up to second place after his unleisurely trip round the coast. Auricula is getting well used to the supercharged Lancia, but the Opel team receive a mighty blow. Toivonen's Ascona 400 has broken a back axle within the last few miles, and the wobbling car cannot even reach the end of the stage. Not that this upsets Russell Brooks.
But Bruce been pleased, you know, it's very early days in the rally, and I think we're lying about 4th, so no problems.
Back in '77, you said it would be a long time before an Irish driver won the circuit again. Do you think this might be the year that would change?
I can't see it. I think one of the big problems is machinery. You know, the machinery is getting so specialised these days, and there aren't any Irish drivers other than Bertie Fisher that have really got the very fast equipment. So we'll have to see how Bertie Fisher goes, I think.
And Bertie is going superbly and clocking up very competitive stage times. Among the other Irish contenders are Brendan Fagan, the Dublin motorcycle dealer, the Knox brothers from Portadown, and Dan Daly in the Datsun. Eklund's retirement means that Malcolm Nilsson now leads Group A from his teammate Louise Aiken, and he is having to use all his considerable skill to stay in front of the perky young Scot in her Ford Escort. The Opel team are still reeling from the news of Toivonen's retirement, but at least Jimmy's plans seem to be on target.
I think we're lying about third, probably. There's a time dispute in the second stage. We reckon we were 20 seconds quicker than the timekeeper. We've said to the organisers about it. There seemed a problem with the clock. If that's the case, we're either second or third.
Traffic has become a problem by the time number 23 arrives. Driver Ernest Kidney, who has acquired some whiskers in his 2 years' absence from rallying, is making an impressive comeback. The sixth stage is where fate plays its April Fool on McRae's chances of making it 4 circuits in a row. They three-wheel the car to the end of the stage where a service wagon will patch the stricken machine. Blomqvist still leads, but Auricola is now second, and Brooks is up to third. Even some of the home drivers are struggling slightly here. And the ladies have their own struggle. In the contest, Louise Aiken, the petite Marie Maloney, Liz Montgomery and the very experienced Rosemary Smith. Her young rival Louise is setting the pace. Marie Maloney and Rosemary Smith are in the dealer Opel Team Ireland cars, and Liz Montgomery, also in an Opel, is putting in a very crisp performance. But they all could give poor Bruce Blake a lesson or two, particularly about how to go round a hairpin. So hairpins obviously aren't Bruce's high point. The status of an official car is proportional to the number of aerials it carries. The occupants of the course cars probably knew by now that already there had been another dramatic change in the lead. Gearbox failure has ended the Quattro domination of the event. With Blomqvist out, Auricola now leads the circuit. Shadowing the Lancia and less than 2 minutes behind is Russell Brooks. Ballinamallard Bertie has a misfire, but he is certainly on form, pulling up to third place, just 40 seconds adrift of Brooks.